Hey guys, my name is Nate and this is my brother Steven. Together we are Wingman Merch.
Thanks for checking out our video. We put these up about a month after we shoot them. If you'd like to catch any of these videos live, check out our Facebook page. The link is in the description.
Yeah, I was just thinking this week or this weekend while you were in Canada and you were at that wedding, I was starting to do some just research around that and then stumbled across the royal wedding. And then that got me thinking about trends. And we talked about writing trends before, but we haven't actually made like a Wednesday video or taught anything on that. So I thought, oh, this week would be a good idea to do that because there was a huge event that just passed. So all the research that I can show on the Wednesday video should at least spark people's ideas, and then all the information will be current enough to where I can kind of say, okay, look at this, instead of kind of teaching people off of the different trends that have gone in the past, the election, solar eclipse, the big ones that everybody was kind of hitting, ones that we dug down into because it was kind of our hobbies, like the Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather fight. That was a trend that was really big that we were able to kind of ride out a little bit. So I just want to be able to show people kind of the research side behind it. And then if you're available, show them kind of the art side of it and see how we can, like, I guess this is the only time where we kind of go close to the lines. Like, we always trademark check and everything beforehand. But if we see a gap in something, then we will try to ride that trend. So the royal wedding, I'm sure you couldn't use like any names that were in there, but you could maybe use England and wedding and certain other things. I don't know because I didn't do the keyword side and checking of that. I just saw the shirts and thought that would be interesting for this week to kind of just teach on trend research and then like how we kind of go after trends, because that's another tool, I guess, that you can use.
Yeah.
Strategy. Yes, there you go.
Another strategy. We've used that a lot more in the past. We used to get like super excited, staying up to like 3, making shirts for trendy things that we saw. But we're kind of in love with the system that we have.
Yeah, it is a grind.
We don't have to stay on top of all the latest new articles, and we were trying all kinds of craziness to like see the latest tweets and YouTube videos and all kind of stuff. Like, we were trying to stay on top of everything. Thought that's what we were going to master. We were like, this isn't for us. Like, it's so much work. It's super stressful. There are some big paydays in there, but it wasn't what we enjoyed doing. We much rather.
Yeah, and it was at the time of taking over other people's accounts. So if it was just your account or my account, I think it wouldn't have been as hectic. But because of the accounts we were taking over and everything else that we had going on, it didn't fit as our business model. Now that things have slowed down for me, I will probably go back and do some trend research and kind of teach the team back of how to do it. But at the time, it was way too much. But I know we talked about it. Who knows? Probably even when we had 30 people in there, and we were going to start teaching on that, and then we realized, hey, we're kind of going too far out. We need to teach people the basics, how to get the keywords, how to find landing zones, and then build off of it. And I kind of feel like this is another building step to help more people. So if you understand landing zones and you understand how to gather keywords, this is another, like Nathaniel said, strategy to help you start selling more shirts.
Yeah,
especially if you understand the split testing and everything else.
Right. That is a huge part of it, understanding split testing. You can't just put up like one shirt for a trend and think you're gonna, hit pay dirt. So split testing is a big part of this, but also you don't have to be as aggressive as we were when looking for trends. Like, after you kind of understand it, then some of them just kind of fall into your lap. You're like, oh, this major event is coming up. I'm sure there's not a million people looking at this, but it's going to be trendy in this one area. If I can get a shirt for those keywords ranked on Amazon, there might be money there. So
yeah, we have a few tricks to find like local trends.
Yeah, just understanding how trends work and then being able to identify them and make shirts for them, because you can do it in a fairly quick amount of time if you get good at it. So you don't have to stress yourself out for it, but you just understanding it is super, super helpful.
So the action step is your favorite thing. So what's the people's action step?
Yeah, so if we're going to keep kind of trends as the theme for this week, I wanted your guys' action step for you guys to find 2 new trends for this week. It might seem a little bit overwhelming, and I want you to guys try tonight and try tomorrow, and then the video on Wednesday will hopefully help kind of make it easier for you guys to understand what we say when we're saying trends, how you're going to find them, how you're going to take advantage of them, all that kind of stuff. But I would love for you guys to just try, see if you can do it on your own. And then if you're not able to find 2 new trends, then that Wednesday video should definitely help you out. So Thursday, Friday, you should be able to nail those down.
And the royal wedding is something that you can look at as an example, but it's over now, so that's not one of the 2 that you can use. So. All right, brother, you want to hit me with the questions?
Yeah. So, again, I apologize. I'm not an English major. I'm going to murder your names. If you want to correct me, feel free to. Mila Rickardson, she asked, she said, I guess, she really enjoys our content, but it's hard browsing through the files on Facebook and find some of the videos run long, so it's hard to pull out the nugget. Have anything to say to that, brother?
Yes, I've actually been getting a lot of these messages lately, especially. I think because we do this, and I'm always trying to keep this to a half an hour, and it never works, and it always runs an hour. The Wednesday videos, we try to cut them down, but they're still kind of like 10 minutes. So I have heard people's, and they say the same kind of thing too. We love your content. We love what you guys are doing. I think because of the Trello board, those videos are so short, it kind of preps them to watch very quick hitter videos, and then we don't have anything to follow up with that. So I'm going to attempt to cut up the Merch Monday calls and edit them down to bite-sized chunks. Going to maybe try to cut up the Wednesday videos. It's kind of hard to do because I feel like I'm compressing those as much as I can. And then possibly the Friday calls. And only the parts that we're going to share live in the group. Because when we go on for another like 5 hours. There's a ton of great information in there. But I kind of want that to be for the people that are willing to put in the time, come join those calls. I understand if you live in another part of the world, I'm sorry. Might switch those up to when we're doing them. The Hangouts at least, so that everybody can kind of get a feel for being in there. But that's what I'm going to try to do to address that. We have heard that question come up from a few different places, and that's kind of how I want to address it, is by chopping those videos up. Another thing is I always use I believe it's called Video Speed Controller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try to get that link now.
I have it. I can post it in the group.
Okay. That's kind of how I watch everything. So I'll miss a lot of things live just because time, like everybody else. You don't have time to sit down for an hour. And then after it's live, I'll play it on like 2 to 3 times speed, kind of grab all the information that there's something that somebody's talking about, like how we were just talking about trends. I might slow it down at that point and then kind of listen in and then kind of buzz through the rest of it. So Dana, I think, is going to put that in the Facebook, the video speed controller.
Yeah.
But that is a tool that I definitely use to watch and learn a lot of videos, especially very quickly. Especially like when I was editing and learning editing, I watched probably like 15, 20 videos at 3 or 4 times speed, just because they always start the video with just like an intro, and then they get into it, and then by the time they're talking about it, I just need that middle part so I can just speed in and out and get what I need and get out.
Yeah, that definitely helps speed things. Well, obviously it helps speed things up, but like just compress all the information that you can take in. Steven's kind of got me addicted to that tool, and now I'm watching stuff at like 3 times speed, whether it's like podcast or whatever. Like if I see Mike Wall had an interview the other day, and I watched that at like 4 times speed because I kind of know what he was going to say, but I want to see if he's going to say anything new. So I don't want to sit down and watch this thing for an hour, but in 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, like that's way better than just time spent to get all that information in. It takes a while to get your ears kind of used to it, but it's doable, and it definitely helps you take in more information.
Yeah, even if you just start on 1.5, and then you'll start picking that up, and then that'll sound normal to you, and then you'll go to 2, and that'll sound normal to you, and then you can start jumping up. Because sometimes, depending on the video, it might cut out at 4 times speed, but sometimes I can watch stuff even faster than that, depending on who is talking, as long as they're not talking super fast. I always joke with Christy, because Christy already talks 2 times speed, so I say, oh, everything I watch with you, normally just like 1.5, because she's already speaking super fast. Yeah, or 0.5. So I know today we're kind of low energy, so if this is a video that you want to try to watch on using that video controller, this might be a good test to kind of see, oh, we've heard them before, we've kind of getting used to their voices, and then because we're a little more tired, it might not be as jumbled when you go back and listen to it.
Well, that's almost like we planned that, but I think it's just this rainy poopy weather that we're not used to.
You
Bringing our
should have said
energy.
anything. We should have just ran with that and said, because we wanted to say that, we were speaking slow this time and just giving you a chance to use that tool. All
Yeah.
right, what's the next?
The next question that we pulled from the group this week was from Larry King, and he said, "Is there post that Stephen and Nate did on partnerships?"
We've talked about it a lot in the videos, and I kind of feel like we talked a lot more about partnerships like 2 months ago, and that's kind of the direction we really wanted to go in. But the more that we help people, we see that we need to really cover the basics before we start jumping into the next thing. And I think the people that are really taking action on the partnering steps are either people that we've had the one-on-one coaching with, that we can kind of explain things as a whole, like a big picture, or the people that we've met in person, especially Tammy. Tammy, I think is somebody that put a post this week talking about partnerships. But we should, as we make these videos, since I enjoy making videos way more than I enjoy posting, we should take whatever, especially since I'm going to try to edit the videos now, whatever I cut down into a soundbite, I should also think, I wonder if this is a post that we've ever addressed this before on. And something like partnerships, I don't think we've ever made a post on, but we should write a quick something, or at least put it in the file section so that people can go and look at it. And we should be addressing more things like that. So if people have questions like that and feel like we might have said something about it, but they don't know where to go, like the previous person, Mila, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
Her saying the file section. Like, we understand the file section is kind of hard to follow, so we are attempting to get better at that. And I think that's another reason why we kind of want to move to a website, so we have a little bit more control. We liked the units that were in here. We weren't able to use them the way that we wanted to, but if we were able to put everything on our own website, we could say, okay, here's the keyword side, here's the art side, here's the partnership side, here's the how to take these things and do other, take the art and do other things with them. Here's kind of how you move from merch to private label. Like, we have a lot of ideas, and it's just very difficult if we're going to start building upon those to have them in a file section or have them with the units, because it's going to be very jumbled. At least on our website, we go, okay, here's the start here, or even the pre-flight. And even with the pre-flight, wanting to switch out those videos in the Trello board, it's impossible. So the website would give us more usability on our end to be able to help teach more people. I don't know if I answered that question at all.
Yeah, the question was there a post? No, there's not a post, but there's a videos of us talking about it. But we need to get better, and kind of what Steven was saying, we need to get better at kind of using Facebook and what works on Facebook and post to work, because they're easily searchable. Videos are not easily searchable. So he's going to try and edit them down and make an actual post just about like stuff that you guys have questions directly about. Like, you guys, the art form is a good example. We might have a post about the art form, but we talk about it in a few videos. It's not something, again, that we like blast out there or talk about all the time. So there are still questions. People are like, oh, you have a design team that I can use in this group. So maybe making like an official post about that, and then just telling people you can search it in the little bar, or being able to point to it when I get that question, might help us out. So we need to learn how to use Facebook's post a little bit better, because we're trying to do everything through video, because we like doing video more than typing out posts. But we need to learn how to use the social media that we're on better and optimize that stuff better. So we're working on it, Larry. Thanks for the question. I'm going to go ahead and answer the last question we have written down. And then I see James Sykes said something in chat, so I'll read that in just a second. Sure, I need you to buy me 30 seconds while I try and answer James Sykes' question. It's a very precise thing, and I'm figuring it out for him. We'll wait a second.
So I guess another thing too is when I'm finding those landing zones and I'm doing the keywords, just like how I did the video probably 2 weeks now, and pulling all those additional keywords, I'm just trying to gather all that information and then build what I call like a first listing. And then from there, I'm trying to give it time to index. And then if it indexes the way I want, I kind of leave it alone for maybe a month. And if it doesn't index the way that I want, then I start trying to change up other words that I have. So I'll try to pull, I'm trying to pull as many words as I can, but I'm trying to at least pull 20 additional words for each landing zone that I'm going after. And then if I do make the listing and fill in the copy kind of how Nathaniel does it, and use 5 to 10 words, and if I see those aren't working for me, then I'll start cycling in the additional ones that I find into the bullet points and then also into the listing. If I see, okay, I got kind of where I wanted on the landing zone and I'm noticing sales are not really coming from it, then I'll try to either niche up or niche down from that landing zone. So adding additional words onto the back end, sometimes adding plurals, even though, and again, I always want to go super deep on this, but A9 is the search algorithm side of Amazon. It's the company that runs their search engine. They see shirt and shirts as the same word, but the way that your competitors are typing it in, they're not always using both of those. So you can go up or down by using the plurals of certain words with less competition or more competition.
My guy, you're giving away our whole course here. Calm down. I said buy me a few seconds. I gave away our over the shoulder information.
There's so much more to that though, and I can go so much deeper into the API and how it's pinging and the keyword index matrix, and I mean that's why I said like it's if I'm going to be talking about that, I have to have my own like theories of just that because it goes too deep and it's too hard to just like answer somebody's questions with that. I have to like show you, explain it to you, show you exactly what they're trying to do, why things are constantly changing. Again, you have to think about Amazon as a company. If you were trying to do shirts and then 2 months later you let 100 people in, and then a month later you let 1,000 people in, and each person gets 100 listings, like you're going to be inundated with listings. So you have to find a way to file all that. But I think that's why we're doing the over the shoulder, just to like, I'm constantly poking and prying. This is kind of what I'm seeing that's working. It will change, but here's the best thing we got going on right now.
Yeah. So obviously you guys can see that Steven can talk about that forever. That's why I let him deal with it, because I don't want to know about A9. I don't want to know how they're looking at words. I want to deal with art. But yes, thank you for buying me a few seconds. James Sykes asked me kind of a softball question, which is why I just went ahead and answered it. How many characters are in the bullet points? And it's 256 because I just went and checked. But I just accidentally, hold on, one second. But yeah, that's the answer to your question, James Sykes. It's 256 characters. Self-plug, I don't know if you call it a plug if you're giving away something for free, but in the file section of our group under resources at the very bottom, there's a tool that I use to help me with my keywords when I'm typing them in. But there's also 3 examples of what I use for bullet point 1, 2, and even for the description, or a little call to action that I put in the description to help you guys out. And those were written by a family friend who does copy for a living. So they're written by someone who knows sales very well. So if you guys are struggling with bullet points or struggling on how to fit keywords into bullet points so you're not stuffing and all that stuff, those are great templates to work off of, and you can change them however you need to, but they're a really good base for you guys to use if you're struggling with that.
Yeah, that's what we're attempting to do in this group, is just give everybody the basics and a strong foundation so that you can start building off of it.
Exactly.
We want to outvalue everybody so that when whatever the next step for us was, like now that we're going to have a paid group, we feel like you should be able to trust us now at this point. You should be able to run a merch business with all the information that is in here. But if you want more of us, like Nathaniel said, then the paid group is going to be how we're dividing that up.
Right. All right. So that's the questions that we've got. Thank you, James Sykes, for asking, and everyone else's name that I said earlier. Sorry. So
Killing it.
Yeah, I know. We're going to move on to the shout outs. People in our group that have just posted something cool that we saw or contributed in a really awesome way, and we want to just say thank you guys. So we'll start with Jen. You guys are probably sick of hearing her name, but she is awesome at posting in this group and helping us out. And she said she made a little over $500 in April, which is absolutely fantastic. Super happy for her to keep finding success. Now she's having some of her own organic sales, some of her own artwork selling. So it just keeps snowballing.
What's so impressive about that is she just started. That's why that's even more crazy to me.
Yeah, it definitely took us a couple of months to get there, and it seemed like she just started off on a good foot because she used all the resources that were available to her in this group and
all our failures.
Her own knowledge, and she just did the work, figured it out, got it. She says she got lucky. it was her just doing the work, using her own knowledge, and finding a niche that worked. So
Yeah, your art team, my way of teaching how to do keyword, landing zone, and everything, and then she kind of just applied it at the right time to her hobby, and that's kind of how it took off.
yeah, so super proud of her. It's awesome that she's still making money with this, and it's continuing to grow every month. Tammy is the next person that we want to shout out. Tammy Kenyon. She was fantastic and came to our talk in Texas, which was awesome. But we want to shout her out for actually taking action on some of the stuff that we had talked about and finding people to partner with and to start working on partnership deals. That makes us so excited to hear that you guys are taking advantage of this crazy opportunity that is merch. The partnerships is like what gets me up every morning. I'm so excited to just go talk to more businesses, talk to more people. I don't even care if I'm getting no's at this point, just because I get to talk about it. I get to, get better at sales and get better at how I'm approaching people and all of that. So she messaged us both one night and just was super excited that things are starting to work out and that she was seeing progress and not getting as many no's. So it was awesome to see her excitement, and that just, I think, kind of helped me at least get through this last week, where it's just not a lot of sleep going on and a lot of work and family and all this stuff going on. So I absolutely love knowing that people in our group is finding success with this and getting as excited about this opportunity as I am. Her and her husband are killing it in merch right now, so it's just awesome to see that they're pursuing that stuff. So another big shout out to JL Highland, as she goes by in our group, for helping out Jessica with her trademark problem. Do you want to touch on this a little bit, Stephen? I know you saw this a little bit more.
Yeah,
than
I guess
did.
I saw it, and it was right probably as you were crossing over the Canadian border. So I messaged you, and you didn't hit me back, and I was like, oh, he's probably in Canada now. And I didn't have anything for her. I mean, I could have suggested some things that we already suggested, but it wouldn't help. And I know by looking at her listing, like, it was kind of a shot in the dark, because I'm not that side of the business. That's your side of the business. So I didn't say anything. And then, of course, JL. And as I look back to, I just want to give another shout out to JL. Like, all the questions. I think anything that's been posted in here, JL has had some great information to post on everything. So I definitely want to thank them for that. But especially for this, to be able to, one, feel comfortable enough in this group to say something like that, to open up your account for somebody to look at your listings. That's why we built this group. So I love that. And then for another group member to come in and be able to help them and actually solve the problem, and they can both move forward with it. And they, I think, have built a strong relationship from that. So that's like encompasses everything that we're trying to do with this group. Give everybody as much information as we have, and then the stuff that we don't really know, be able to go to this group and say, okay, these are the things that we are not good at. Or if Nathaniel's out of the country, I can rely on the group a little bit to be able to uplift that side trademarks, because I was like, I am not going to touch that at all. So JL being able to answer that, big shout out. And just for everybody in the group, huge thank you. That's kind of why this thing has continued going, because of people in this group and people like that are just willing to, I guess, step out, be vulnerable, and then have other people help them. Because I think that's kind of the only way business works, is by building relationships. And I wanted to foster a group that was able to build strong relationships. The Friday Hangouts, I feel like we're crushing it in there. There's more people reaching out to me. And I guess I'll address that too. Tammy was a person that reached out to me and Nathaniel, and we have a relationship with her, so we asked her to post that also in the group. Anybody that's reaching out to me, feel free. I'm not going to stop that. But I'm going to ask here publicly, if you are going to message me, also put that in the group. You might want to switch up the names and the faces to protect the innocent, but post it in the group, because a lot of other people are going to have that question or even have more insight than me and Nathaniel. I think we answered Tammy's questions, but there were definitely some good answers inside her post in the group, other than just her PMing us. So I just want to address that now, because I've been wanting to say it for each individual person that's messaging me, but I don't feel comfortable saying, hey, I'll answer this, but can you post in the group? So I just want to say it here, so that if you do start getting those PMs back, know that it's not just you, it's kind of everybody now at this point.
Yeah, and that's just kind of getting it back to what really started this group. I mean,
Yes.
the 30 people that we had in here originally, which is people that were kind of asking us the same questions about March. So we're like, okay, let's pull all these people together and just be able to answer them all at once, whether it was through videos or just the same post. So things weren't as hectic back then. So we've done a lot more like one-on-one answering questions, and we're not trying to stop that by any means. We just want that information to be in the group, to live in the group, so other people can see that if they're not, comfortable asking us those questions, at least they can see the answers and learn from that as well. We want to keep this a very open environment and community, so we want you guys to be asking us those questions still and getting the answers directly from us, but then if you guys could say it in the group. And also just because, like Steven said with the trademark stuff, like there are questions out there that we don't have the answers to. Now, we'll do our best to answer them, but there's probably more qualified people in the group to answer that stuff. So
people that video editors for 20 plus years,
right?
Or Stephanie
Exactly.
that's been making training videos for who knows how long. Like those are the people that we really wanted to have in this group because everybody brings his own special gifts to the group, and we want to be able to everybody kind of tap into that so everybody can be elevated.
Yeah, so we want to get you guys comfortable just being able to read all the questions that are getting asked to us so that everyone can just, the collective knowledge goes up when those questions are answered kind of in a public spot, which is just on our Facebook group. So that's us trying to get back to what we originally started this group for. So we feel awkward asking you guys like in chat, like, hey, that's a great question. Why don't you ask it like over here so everyone can see it? So we just want to make you guys aware of that. We might be asking you to do that. All right. So we've done our questions and our shout outs and our action step and all of that. And now that we're almost at another hour-long show, let's talk about what's coming up this week.
Over the shoulder, which I think is you're posting that tomorrow, correct? I asked you that already.
Yeah, the post for that will be going up tomorrow. Again, that's going to be May 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be 30 people at $37.99. And it's split kind of in half. If you're in the call, you probably won't notice anything. We might say, hey, we're going to stop it here or whatever. But the first hour is going to be training. Second hour is going to be the actual over shoulder where Steven's running down those landing zones.
Yeah, from suggestions of people that sign up.
Yep.
The pay group, we kind of talked about that. We don't have an exact plan, but we are definitely going to have a pay group, and we just want to make everybody aware of it now. We kind of touched on it last week. Because this week we're going to try to more schedule that out, we just want another indication of, hey, this is coming. We don't know exactly what it looks like, but just be aware of it. And we do like the small group feel. That's kind of how we feel like we can help each other. You're going to get the small group feel, plus somewhere access to us, and we're going to be able to monetize a little bit so we can spend more time.
Yeah, and again, just so you guys understand like why this group is staying the way it is because we want to be able to promote this thing a little bit more, get a little bit more people in here. We think the content in here is awesome, and there's a lot of really good nuggets in here that more people can get value from. So as we're going out speaking or getting interviewed or whatever, we want to be able to tell people like, hey, come check out like all this content that we put out now, and not have it such a guarded community.
Yeah, I
Opening
guess
it up a little bit more.
It was more awkward for me because even like you were on that Merch Dojo show and they were talking about our group and you kind of shut the whole thing down. I've had a lot of those situations too, even kind of when we were at that live event, like we kind of told people, but we didn't really promote it. And we are going to be doing more presentations. I am going to be out going to ASD, CES, and all those other places where people are going to be talking about our group. And we want to be able to, like Mateo said, have other people say things about us, invite them in instead of going, yeah, you can come and try to join the group. And then we're like, nah, just kidding. So that was felt bad. Plus me and Jenny are doing more things in front of more people and she's bringing up our group. And I'm having trouble like not saying anything about it because then she understands, but then she's like, it's such great information. You need to tell more people. So just from other people telling us kind of like how they see it in their view, we go, okay, yes, we agree. We should have this group that we have and open it up to everybody. It's kind of counterintuitive to have a free group that you want to help people and then deny most of the people that want to come in. It's just because we wanted to keep it small. So we kind of feel like this is the best solution for everybody. We're going to have a small feeling group that you pay for, and then this group can just kind of blossom.
Flourish, yeah. All right, cool. So to remind you guys what the trend of this week, or the theme, sorry, of this week is going to be trends. And finding your trend is going to be the Wingman Wednesday video. So that will help you guys. Again, the action step is for you guys to find 2 new trends that you haven't known or have no prior knowledge to that you can make sure it's for. You can't do that on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday night, that video will be coming out to help you guys out. So we're excited about that. We think that's just another, like Steven said, tool in your toolbox. You know how to take advantage of trends, how to split test, how to do the keyword research, all that kind of stuff. We're going to try and cover in a short, concise video on Wednesday. And then Friday, we're doing our hangout again. It's going to be hosted by Steven. Again, I should be there this Friday. I won't be on my way to Canada with no service and all of that. But we love our Friday hangouts. We love the people who are coming and just talking and hanging out. There's been so much good information shared there just about everything, even stuff, that we don't know about. We always say like the Etsy stuff that's being brought up, now the video editing stuff that's being brought up, and the courses. And there's a lot of really cool ideas in there. So if you want to get time with me and Steven and just the community just to talk and hang out, we love doing that, and we'll probably continue to do that. So that's all we've got coming up this week. So I think that's all of our show notes. Got anything else to say, brother, before we sign off?
I think that's it. I actually have a little bit more energy now. I think maybe just not having you on the call was like, I was like, oh boy, like here's another thing I'm just like dragging on. But I think that it speaks to our group. We have a partnership, and yes, I mean, he is my brother, but I think from working with him and then seeing the true value in relationships and partnering, we want to bring that to at least the merch community. And we kind of feel like we are doing that, and we want to tap a lot more into that. I think maybe this Friday we'll have a guest on and then see how that kind of goes. Now that we kind of know the direction that we want to go, we kind of see we're going to split the group, not split the group, I keep saying that, but have a pay group. We kind of know the direction that at least we're starting to head, so we can kind of start bringing in some other people to this group to kind of give more information and more, showing just more of the relationship side of everything. Because I think the partnerships that we have are, like you always say, we're not getting married on the first date. The partnerships that we have are built over a long period of time. It's been a year or 2 years. That's the only reason that we're really working with these people. So I want to be able to show people in this group kind of how that goes, even like the origin stories of a lot of the stuff that how did this come about. It seems like very awkward and odd. If you watch that interview that Joy did with me, the thing that she said of why she wanted us to speak at that conference was like very eye-opening to me. She just saw me helping Ryan like set some digital stuff up, pack up some stuff that to me seems very like mind-boggling. Like how would you think somebody that does that can do a presentation? But it's been a lot of things like that. So even the Mike Gall situation, like how that came about from helping somebody to somebody else saying something to then reaching out to us to where you helped him, just is a crazy way of how that came about. And then see that partnership like blow up. Like who knew that thing was going to go where it is? And then just everything else that we're doing, like it's so exciting for us. So I'm excited. I really appreciate this group. I want to continue to do this. I feel like we're finding the balance in how to pull that off. And then as we work through this week, next Merch Monday, we'll have the best, well, best way to explain how we're going to be doing that.
Yeah, so next Merch Monday might be a little bit more information packed than how we've been trying to keep it lighthearted, even though these are going an hour long anyways. But we love keeping you guys kind of in the loop. We don't like saying, we've got great things coming. Like, we just want to tell you guys what we've got going on. And I think you guys appreciate that, just being real, being upfront, being honest with you guys. You've told me personally that that's why you enjoy our group kind of over other groups and other communities. That's what we like to keep moving forward, because that's just mine and Steven's personality anyways. Like, we don't like building up a ton of hype around something. Like, we didn't try to, blow up this group and then add content. We're like, okay, let's see where this thing goes, just adding as much good content as we possibly can. And we're really happy with the direction that we're going. We're blown away by the people that we have in our community. You guys are just fantastic and have helped us so much. So we love pouring back into this community.
Yeah, the long game. We're after the long game more than just
definitely.
the here and the now. And merch is hot. Let's get our money and get up out of here. Like, I want to be around for 10, 20, 30 years. I want people to go, oh, Steve and I remember him from this and that. Even when I was going to conferences and they're like, oh, you're the guy that did this and you're the guy that did that and you're the guy, like everybody had a different AKA for me, and I thought that was pretty cool. And even from last CES going with you and then having people recognize you versus me, I was like, oh, that's a whole nother element that we just added. So I'm very excited for this CES to kind of see how that goes. And hopefully we'll be more known as like the Hibbert brothers more than, oh, you did this thing and this thing. You know, I remember 5 years ago you were doing this and that. And so just excited.
Yeah.
But again, thank you everybody.
So much for joining us. We will see you on the Wednesday.